Is we here? Is we here? Let me make sure. I would leave me if I was you. I'm not no good. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nothing better than I had went wrong. Just trying to make sure. Just trying to make sure. There we go. Alright, 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 alright. We bite with the diddler update. We bite. We back. Alright, there we go, there we go, there we go. Let's get it.
So again, look, you mentioned they're in a kind of a difficult position. I want to go back to something here, Natalie, that I talked about with Nima. The defense has said that they have been coordinating with prosecutors since the beginning. They knew that he was under investigation. He never left the country. He submitted his passport to the law firm. Every time he was leaving the state, his attorneys told the government he came to New York in anticipation of these charges. The government's not persuaded and doesn't even believe that's real cooperation. What's your take
Damn.
on this? Should that be, if you're wondering if he's a danger, but more for this specific issue, if you're wondering if he's a flight risk, especially considering he knew that charges were coming and he didn't take off, and we talked about that before, doesn't that weigh in his favor?
No,
Yeah, they don't care about none of that though. That's the whole point about this. They don't care what he's trying to do to act in good faith. They want to make him look as bad as possible. Even though we know what he's doing is in good faith, they don't care. They want him in jail for this, and that's just the goddamn bottom line.
here, unfortunately, it just doesn't. Let me just first start by saying that I understand what his defense attorneys were doing, and I keep repeating, I really think his defense attorneys are doing a great job with a not so great defense case right now, right at this current stage. They're having a really hard time getting their client out of jail. However, there is this concept in government regulations that's called regulatory capture, where you're supposed to be, as a member of the government, regulating something, but the thing you're supposed to be regulating sweet talks you with the prosecutor. It's very creative.
Ooh. Uh, we got an update yet? So we still waiting on the update. This is the scene outside of the courthouse. They're actively holding the bail hearing. For those of you who don't know, right now Diddy's team is appealing the bail denial in a trafficking case. They want him home. Prosecution is like, we don't give a damn. We're keeping him, and that's just it. So this right here is the bail hearing. They want to appeal. They presented a new bail package, basically expressing. Let me see who Diddy's new bail package. So we got Associated Press. Sean Diddy Combs makes a fresh bid for bail in his sex trafficking and conspiracy case. Lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs asked the judge Wednesday to let him await his sex trafficking trial at his luxury home on an island near Miami Beach rather than a grim federal jail in Brooklyn. Combs' lawyer offered a $50 million bail package using his mansion as collateral in exchange for releasing him to home detention with GPS monitoring and strict limitations on who could visit him. I think one of the reports said that he won't have no females in his house. As soon as these cases came, we should have had no females around him. What females are going around Diddy at a time like this? Oh, Combs' lawyer offered a hearing on the request was set for Wednesday afternoon. On Tuesday, U.S. Magistrate Judge in Manhattan ordered Combs to be held without bail. All right. So this was one of the drawings of him in court. These are the guns they found. So yeah, right now we're just waiting on for his lawyers and everybody to come out to let us know what's going on. So right now we're going to go to Associated Press because they're allowed to be in the courtroom and they type fast, so there are going to be some errors in some of these tweets. So let's scroll down to okay. Let's get to the beginning of the nonsense. Update. Okay, so let's see. Countdown, bail, appeal hearing in 2.5 hours. Okay. This is Robert Kennedy Jr. Okay, so I think this is Diddy. Is this? All right. Okay, now at sentencing of the defendant for 2 shootings, one of the abdomen. Okay, this is another case. Okay, so this is the video.
Russell Lee, Inner City Press. Okay, here we are. Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, here in Foley Square, Southern District of New York Courthouse. Yesterday was largely spent covering Sean Combs, U.S. versus Sean Combs. We went across the street there into the tall building behind me for the Damian Williams press conference and asked him, would they be seeking his detention? He said yes, and in fact they did. He didn't answer to compare to the R. Kelly case, but that's another question. Now, the bail hearing went long. I'm going to get back to that in a second. First, a couple of other items. On the Trump docket, there actually is something. That Team Trump has asked for an extension of time to respond to Jack Smith's appeal of Eileen Cannon's decision that he's not really qualified as a special counsel, not appropriately appointed or confirmed to bring the documents case. He's appealed to the 11th Circuit. They've asked for an extra 30 days until late October, which would put it closer to the election. So there's that. Now, back to, what else can we say? Oh, on the crypto front, yesterday, among all the Diddy madness, there was Michelle Bond, the woman who ran for Congress on a pro-crypto platform. Ryan Salem says that he pled guilty based on a promise or an assurance that she wouldn't be probed. He pled guilty, and then she was indicted. In any case, she pled not guilty and pushed it back until January 8th. There's going to be some resolution by Judge Kaplan on whether Ryan Salem, if subpoenaed, will be able to make his statements about assurances given by the prosecutors. So we'll just have to see. Back to Diddy, and the reason that we're out here instead of closer to 500 Pearl is that the appeal, today it said that at 3:30 today there will be an appeal of yesterday's decision by Judge Tarnowski, Magistrate Judge Tarnowski, to bind over for trial or not release on $50 million almost entirely secured bond, Sean Combs. So we'll be covering that. But until then, we're going to be covering other stuff. In fact, one of the things we're going to be covering is the United Nations. They make it difficult. They make it difficult because when you...
All right, so he's covering other things in the mix of this. So this is a picture of what all the press out there for Diddy. Okay. Will you be at there? I asked my square now. Current scene. Okay, so this was the video from earlier. This was 2 hours ago. This is what it looked like.
So this is the scene, moments before the bail appeal of Sean Combs. This car's been sitting here for a while. Everyone's wondering who's going to be getting out. Give you a sense of the scene. We'll be live tweeting it once it starts, but for now, it's actually going to start pretty soon. So, is ever
Okay, so we have right here, AUSA, we have a message from the victim. I still have crazy bruises. He claims he wanted to get his clothes back, but that's not what happened to her. She tried to escape the room with the defendant and a commercial sex worker. Jesus Christ. Like, so they're talking about Cassie right here, obviously. That damning hotel video. Sheesh. What else we got? Let's see if I can go to the whole thread. Okay. AUSA immediately after the assault, the defendant sent these messages and quote, "Call me. The cops are here. I got 6 kids. Yo, please call. I'm surrounded. You're going to abandon me all alone." The defendant knew he had done something that could elicit police response. AUSA, he covered up what he did this year after the surveillance video came out. Only then did he admit that it was him. Yesterday, it was claimed that his clothes were taken, but that's not what happened. Why drag the victim back down the hallway? So this is what the AUSA is saying to the judge, because they're pleading to keep Diddy locked up through the duration of the trial. Brother. He said he won't have any female visitors, like it was the only female at them parties. Hey, bro, I said the same thing, bro. I don't know what that's supposed to do. Right? And apparently he had a freak off this year too, to be honest, bro. I'm not even about to lie to you. He had a freak off this year. So AUSA, the indisputable evidence makes clear you cannot take the defendant at his word. March 5th, 2016 is far from the defendant's lone act of violence and obstruction. Freak off activity is the core of this case. They use force, coercion, and drugs. Bro, I know it's just crazy. We waiting to see if he could deny bail or not. Our investigation is ongoing. A half a dozen escorts is just the tip of the iceberg of the number of escorts who have participated in these freak-offs. This case is charged as a sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion. The acts were not consensual. AUSA, the defense is arguing that anyone in the freak-off wanted to be there. That's not the law. When people are threatened with exposure and are beaten, they cannot consent. That is trafficking. Damn. Victims' heads were slammed against car windows. Sheesh. Here are some texts. When you get fucked up, you knock me around. I am not a rag doll. I'm someone's child. We have witnesses who witnessed the injuries. This conduct happened behind closed doors in houses, hotel rooms, cars. Judge Chanovsky was coerced. The Puff Diddy Love annual freak off. He getting off. Bro, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is fucking crazy. Hey, judge found that she did not believe defense counsel can control the defendant. Consider the Mercedes case in the circuit reversing a decision to release a defendant. Let's turn to obstruction. Witness have expressed extreme fear of him. AUSA, they have directly contacted the victim in November 2023. Constant contact with the witness to the charged conduct after the subpoena before government interviews. Two of these examples are there are communication between the defendant and the witness, 13 contacts. And allegedly Diddy called somebody 54 times off another person's phone. It wasn't even his phone. He called somebody 54 times and basically said in the phone call that, hey, look, I'm not calling you from my phone. I think my shit tapped, so I'm calling you from somebody else's phone. Because now he trying to cover his tracks. What we got? I think this is, so we just did so now we got, what's the update? Yeah, these reporters be typing. All right, so this was an hour ago. AUSA, we didn't deal with Lawrence Ray's case. Magistrate Judge Fox ordered detention even on one victim, but the judge found corroborated by evidence. Traveling to New York does not address danger to the community. I am here to seek detention, but I note that the bail package does not have enough conditions that focus on obstruction, and I couldn't. He's been involving in others. AUSA, the defendant shouldn't be detained pending trial. Judge defense. So this is the back and forth that they're having. It started at 3:30. So obviously they're still in court. We didn't get an update just yet. Let me see if they did an update. Okay, so we still waiting for them to give a update on the case. So we'll go back to the tweets. Basically they're saying like, yeah, we don't care that him traveling. It's the fact that he's going to be able to contact these victims, and that's what they're doing in the Young Thug case. The same way Young Thug is, we want to keep Thug locked up because we don't want him contacting the witnesses, because how are we going to know? There's burner phones, there's other means to contact people, but we can't be in your house. So anybody can come to your house, you can call anybody. Like we don't know who's who. We're still figuring that out. So the prosecution is fighting, saying, hey, we want Diddy locked up so he can't call anybody because he is an extremely wealthy man with means. He can pay people to do certain things, and everybody has a price. Okay, so AUSA, defense, Combs lawyer, Mark Engel, whatever the fuck. Let me start with Miss Harper. I was called by her and the lawyer. I said, do what you want, make a statement or not. I later found out that she did. Combs' second lawyer, Tenny, they got some names on them. I sound like Webby on the Breakfast Club. Miss Harper felt she was being besmirched. We did not speak with her at 2 a.m. on the 11th. Judge, after speaking, what would be the reason for Mr. Combs to continue contacting her? Diddy's lawyer, she was concerned she was in the media. Another one of Diddy's lawyers, I have brought today the head of Sage Intelligence. We are proposing that Sage Intelligence personnel, all former law enforcement, will be monitoring the residence of Mr. Combs 24/7. They will have 1 or 2 employees there at all times. So they say we even found somebody that's reputable to hold security at the house. So they have no reason to be on our side. They're there to get paid, and that's that. But what I say earlier, everybody got a price. So there's his lawyer saying there will be a visitor log. Only pre-approved could come in. We could give this list to the court. Mr. Combs will not have a cell phone or access to the internet. That way, no witnesses, intimidation completely nullified. And the state is saying, like, okay, what does that mean? I mean, the state is saying, what does that mean? Everybody else is coming in there with a cell phone. How do we know you guys aren't gonna just give him the phone and let him do what he needs to do? He could do this off other people's phones. Like, I know they have to say this, but come on now. Like, let's be real here. Okay. His lawyer says having Sage Intelligence on site will do what we have to do. Even three there. If you don't believe that Mr. Combs' actions in coming to New York are only about risk of flight, it shows he is deeply respectful of the court's authority, he is responsible. Mr. Combs knew he was under investigation and gave us his passport. This is no defense lawyer theater. We took the passport of 5 of his family members. We have a letter of intent to sell his airplane. We have had 3 buyers who didn't work out. So they're even trying to sell the jet. They're like, look, we'll even sell that motherfucker. And it makes sense for him to sell it because you're going to need this money. Because this case is going to take upwards to about 20 million, maybe 50 million, $100 million. This is probably going to be one of the highest defenses ever charged, whatever the fuck you want to call it. A woman contacted him, said she's gotten a subpoena. We told him don't speak to her. The judge talked to me about danger. People who are a danger are people who are consumptuous of the court, but Mr. Combs has never been consumptuous of the court. He had a case in New York in 1999. He came to court every time. He shows up on time. Judge, under your plan, would he still have employees? They handle his finances. They are in California. Judge, would he be able to leave his residence? Hey, no. The judge and the security, okay, that's and the security, they could be there in the house. His lawyer says yes. And shifts, we could put cameras filming 24 hours a day. They could do spot checks. He doesn't use the internet. We can make it as secure as we need to make it. There are already cameras there. So they're basically saying, like, look, we can have 24-hour surveillance and the security could do spot checks at the house to make sure that he's not doing anything on the internet or making any phone calls without somebody being there. That's pretty much the bail package that they're offering, and they're fighting that today. So the judge has a tough decision to make because most likely I feel like they will deny it. I don't see them letting Diddy out just off the simple fact of he's been trying to basically intimidate witnesses before he was arrested. And like I said earlier, you're a wealthy guy. There's means. There's ways to get around certain things. So I don't really see Diddy getting out on a bail today. Let's see if he in the city press updated anything. I think that's it for right now. All right, so I think that's. So yeah, this was Diddy's lawyer on CNN.
We're arguing is not only does your client pose a flight risk because obviously he's incredibly wealthy, has access to planes and a lot of staff, even though you said he turned over his passport to you months ago, they were also worried about him being able to interfere with witnesses and calling them. And so I guess the question is, how do you assure the court that that won't happen if prosecutors are saying, this is someone who's attempted to bribe security staff and has already threatened and interfered with witnesses?
So I think the most important thing, even more important than the passport, is that Mr. Combs came to New York on September 5th. As soon as we realized that this indictment was going to be coming down in a matter of weeks, maybe months, but sometime soon, Mr. Combs got on a plane, left his home in Florida, flew to New York. I called the prosecutors myself. I said, Mr. Combs is in New York. Do you want to know where he is? If you want to know where he is, I'll tell you where he is, but he wants to surrender. He's here to surrender. They didn't want him to surrender because if he surrenders, they don't get to tell the judge that he's a flight risk and he's a danger. Because who, as a danger and a flight risk, would fly to New York and surrender? So they didn't want him to surrender.
So since September 5th, you had known, you expected it was likely he was going to formally face charges.
So I really knew he was formally going to face charges on March 25th, the day of the searches. When Homeland Security searched his Los Angeles home, his Miami home, and his airplane, I knew that day by looking at the search warrants. I mean, I've been doing this for a while. This is not my first or 100th rodeo, that this was going to come as a matter of time. What I realized in early September is that it was coming soon.
See, and the good lawyer is gonna know. Look, let's beat them to the punch. This is the highest of the highest profile case right now, and we're in election season, so tension is high. The country is hella divided right now, so there's a lot of outrage going on. So the prosecution is obviously trying to play it in their favor, and the defense is trying to say, we know your tactics. Like, you do the same thing almost for every person. We're going to we want to surrender. Let's start this process now. But the state like, no. We'll do it when we're ready. You don't tell us when to do it. And this is where ego comes in between people, because now it's personal attacks. It's not even about the law. They're like, look, I'm going to go after you. You going to go after me. We're going to do this how we do it, but you're not like, we never going to let you know our next move. As much as you want us to, you want us to fold to what you're doing. No. You don't control this. You guys don't control this.
Soon. And so it was time for Mr. Combs to come to New York, which he did. And let me just point out one very important thing. The prosecutors are seizing on something that happened 8 years ago. You know, this video that we've all seen, and it's a bad video for Mr. Combs, and he said so himself when he gave his apology. This is 8 years ago, and the prosecutors are talking about him bribing a hotel security worker. There was no criminal investigation. This was just a matter of personal embarrassment because he and the person in the video were in the midst of a 10-year relationship that was difficult at times, that was toxic at times, but it was mutually so. And this whole notion that Mr. Combs is forcing drugs on someone is just nonsensical, and it's going to prove to not be true.
Well, on that video, he initially denied the allegations when his then girlfriend, who was in that video, filed a lawsuit last fall. And we have that video. I should note CNN was the first outlet to exclusively report on it. He denied that happened when she filed it in a complaint. And then when the video came out is when he apologized for it.
So I wasn't his lawyer back then, so I don't, and I don't think he denied. I mean, I think the lawyers were the ones mostly making the denials. I think they were denying sex crimes. I mean, because at the end of the day, the gravamen of that civil complaint wasn't a misdemeanor assault, which is what you see on that video. Not minimizing it, but it's a misdemeanor assault. What the gravamen of...
And that's what a defense lawyer does. They go based off of the law. They don't have feelings. My job isn't to have feelings. My job is to get this guy off. So that's why he said, I'm not diminishing it, but per the law that they are putting on him, that's what it is.
The complaint was sex crimes, and he denied that, and he still does.
Well, and you're saying that this is all just about that one relationship, but when you read through the indictment, they say that there's not just one victim. They say there's multiple victims here today, and what I heard described was they said they have 50 witnesses or victims.
Yeah, I think it's 49 witnesses and one victim. I think if you broke it down, and I say that because count 2, which is the sex trafficking count, has victim number 1, and there is no victim number 2 anywhere in the indictment.
So you're saying that there are...
And the judge did say at the first bail hearing, the judge did say, from his lawyer said it at the press conference, that, hey, the judge said to them, hey, look, this seemed consensual. And then the prosecution had to prove how it wasn't consensual, and that's when they start laying out the evidence that they have. Because the judge, like, from what I see, this was consensual, so make it make sense, basically. And it's crazy that his lawyer's doing interviews. Like, I know they have to do interviews like this because we want to persuade the public, because the public opinion matters. Because whoever's on this trial, it's going to be hard for you to not know any of this. Like, this is covered all through the country right now. I'm sure there's people in other countries that are hearing about this, not on a big scale, but they're witnessing some of this. But in our country, in America, yeah, it's going to be hard for a jury of 12 to be unbiased in this. After you could just go on the internet and see Diddy is in the news. You might not even fully pay attention, but all you got to do is hear, oh, he was trafficking, human trafficking, whatever. Jury selection is going to be fun for this.
Are not other women.
But his lawyer doing in interviews, what I was saying earlier, sometimes it's not good. Like, I know they have to, but it's not good doing interviews because you, in a sense, could slip up and say the wrong thing, and then people will dissect it because everybody's like a deep researcher on YouTube, so people are going to pull up videos. They're going to really dissect this shit. They're going to make their own assumptions. They're going to pull up facts and say, you said there was only one victim, but here there's other victims, because I believe one of the paid sex workers ended up being a victim, so that makes 2 victims.
Because what they were essentially arguing here is that he coerced and forced women into sex acts by using physical force, financial pressure, emotional abuse, and narcotics for what they described as these freak-off sessions. They say that he self-described them as that.
Yeah, there's one victim in the indictment. The charging
But
document.
one victim does count, right?
No, of course, but I'm just not. It's not 50. I mean, what they did, it's a little too cute, is it's 50 witnesses or victims. Well, it's one victim. That's all that's in the indictment.
Our reporter who was in the courtroom today said that he appeared to have a stunned expression on his face. Was he surprised that he was arrested last night?
No, he definitely was not. I mean, I told him myself in early September, you are going to be arrested soon, and you're going to be charged with racketeering, and you're going to be charged with sex trafficking. So come to New York. It wasn't a long conversation. He agreed. So we knew this was coming, and in fact, we offered that he would turn himself in.
So if there are these witnesses and victims, and as you're saying that you believe it's one victim and 49 witnesses who saw this behavior, that's pretty powerful, though, to have that many people who have, if they go to court and argue that they witnessed this behavior by your client.
Well,
what's your defense against that kind of
So my defense is very well established. I interviewed myself the different men who were being brought sort of into Mr. Combs and this person's intimate situation. I've flown around the country. I've interviewed a large number of them. There's not the slightest inkling, according to the interviews that I've done, of anything that's coercive, non-consensual.
So they basically saying, his lawyer saying is these people was consensual. They wanted to do this. They were down with the freak-offs. That's what his lawyer is alleging. And that's going to be his defense when they pull these victims up or these witnesses up. They're going to ask them, did you go to these freak-offs? Like, did you willingly go? And then the state is going to argue that it doesn't matter if they went. They're saying that they were held there, that they could not leave. That's going to be the battle of trying to prove who's right, because the state is saying, well, the feds are saying, look, we have evidence that these people couldn't leave. That's just what it is. We got text messages, what I was reading earlier from the tweets, where they're saying, like, look, this going to hit the media. I'm wrapped up in this shit.
Nobody was too drunk. Nobody was too high. These were adults in a relation. This is a 10-year relationship. You can't forget that. This is a 10-year relationship, and it was adults and consensual, and everybody who was there wanted to be there. So I feel very confident in our position.
You said you interviewed the men, but what about the women?
I haven't interviewed the woman. The woman's not available to me. She's presumably a grand jury witness, and we would not. We cannot try to interview a grand jury witness.
And you don't think that there are any other women who are going to say that they were coerced into this, given drugs, and essentially as prosecutors were saying that that's what kept them compliant?
So there are a lot of women in these civil cases. There's been a mountain of civil cases ever since the civil case that was filed in November. I don't see them as victims in the indictment. That's my point.
And so when you talk about that video of...
Yeah, because he's basically saying a lot of them got paid off already. Like, we paid you, you can't be a part of this. And I'm sure the state is going to, well, the feds are going to use some of the victims that went after him civilly too. And also too, they're going to turn his staff. They're going to, because I think they subpoenaed his security as well, but they're going to turn his staff because they're going to say, well, what racketeering is RICO is, hey, look, if I'm committing all these crimes, I have a bunch of people around, we're doing all these deals, we're doing all this stuff, and you just watch my cars and you see me slap somebody or you seen a freak off through the window, like, you're complicit. If you put the baby oil in the room, you're complicit. If you set up the camera and the lights, you're complicit. If you were naked in the room, you're like, that's how RICO works. So you tell somebody, hey, look, if you don't basically give me information about him, you're going to jail because you're just as guilty as him. So that's where it's going to be hard for the defense to fight that side, because you got a bunch of people all saying the same thing against your client saying that's not what happened. Humans naturally are going to believe the majority. So they have a hard, long pause, no Diddy case ahead of them. Because 1,000 bottles of baby oil, I don't know if that video going around is real, but they got a setup of a bunch of baby oil that they found in like a bathroom.
Cassie Ventura, that was his then girlfriend. In the video, I mean, just when you saw that, you said it's a bad video. It's pretty difficult to watch.
It is, no question. So let me tell you what happened.
Will that be used as evidence in court, do you think?
100%, 100%.
Bro, 1,000. They brought that shit in on a pallet, bro. Like, you know how they got the forklift at work? Yeah, they brought it in on a pallet. It's like, god damn.
So what I said in court today, and I'll say,
and his lawyer is basically saying, like, look, all of these people, I've talked to majority of the guys already. The guys are saying, like, look, we was with this shit. Because Diddy wasn't bringing in girls to have the free calls with. He was bringing, like, guys. So he was telling Cassie, like, oh, we about to have a threesome tonight. And it's like, oh, yeah, cool. Like, yeah, what's the girl? And you're like, nah, it's this dude I hired. That's what Diddy was doing. Like, that's crazy.
say it again here, is the two of them were in a hotel. It was just the two of them in a hotel room. She found out that he was seeing someone else. She was going through his phone. She hit him in the head with his own
Oh,
phone.
shit.
And then she walked
Diddy
in the
staying
bedroom
locked
to the-
up. Oh, shit. Then he lost the bail. They keeping Diddy inside. God damn. Diddy staying locked up. Sean Combs will remain detained. Let's see what inner city press. Hold on, let me get out of there because they go crazy. Oh yeah, I'm gonna play that one later. Damn, Diddy, they keeping Diddy locked up. That's crazy. You know, I know people never thought this day would come. Damn. Diddy is locked up. Breaking news. They keeping the diddler inside. So I guess we waiting for his lawyers to come out, because they're going to have a press conference after this, so. Damn, that's tough. Damn. Let me see if I know they about to do some interviews soon. Story still developing. Let me go. Let me see if they got Dion. Story still developing. We here now, real time, y'all. Sean Combs. Yep, Judge, I heard parties. I will find that the government had proven that the defendant is a danger. The bail package is insufficient, even on the risk of flight. Damn. Let me hold on 1 second. All right. So we waiting for Diddy's lawyers to come out and
hallway
and
with 2
speak
bags.
on
One of the bags has all of his clothing taken from him, which is why he runs out in a towel. So this isn't her fleeing from one of these freak-offs. Why would she take his clothing? That's not what it is. And when the evidence comes out, this is going to be completely different than the government's portrayed it.
But on this video, and I just want to show that again now, how do you defend against allegations that he hit, kicked, and dragged?
And that's what the media do. They just gonna keep playing it over and over because now they want his lawyer to feel guilty for even defending something like this.
Women, when he's on video hitting, kicking, and dragging a woman.
Sure, he's not charged with hitting, kicking, and dragging away. He's charged with sex trafficking, and he didn't traffic anybody.
But he's charged with
and his lawyer's basically saying, like, why are you bringing up something that he wasn't charged with? Right now he's currently charged with sex trafficking.
conspiracy.
Diddy will remain in jail.
Physical abuse, emotional abuse, financial pressure, as prosecutors allege, to keep these women in his fold.
Yo, these chats be
Maybe
going
they're
crazy.
just Cassie
Free
Ventura,
you, my
but
heart.
keeping these women in the fold.
Cassie Ventura lived by herself. She had her own house. She had a family. She had a career. And he was seeing another woman at the time. He wasn't around a lot. She could have done whatever she wanted to do. All of these allegations of, I was forced, I was coerced, I had to stay, are nonsense. And it's going to be proven to be so.
That video, in the indictment, it alleges that your client paid hotel staff $50,000 to make it disappear from the hotel surveillance system. Did he pay off the hotel staff?
Not that I know of. I know that's an allegation.
I'm trying to make this
I
post
don't know
right
that
now.
That is true. What I was concerned about when I heard about this allegation is whether there was an allegation that there was some sort of law enforcement investigation pending, because then that would be a crime. But there was none. And so this is not a crime.
You talked about, you said you're portraying this as adults who were at these events that wanted to be, I shouldn't even call them events. That's not certainly how anyone else would label it. But that
Freak
they wanted
offs.
to be there. But they also allege that they were recorded and essentially used as blackmail. Is that not true?
That's not true. That's not true.
How can you prove that when they have electronic evidence that, as they argue, over 90 cell phones, laptops, iCloud storage accounts, 30 electronic and storage devices, hard drives, thumb drives?
Yeah.
You're not worried about that?
No, because if they had it, they would have put it in the indictment. And it's not in the indictment.
When it comes to
True
your
indeed.
client's credibility, I think people will look at what he said last fall. And it's not just his attorneys. I mean, he pays those attorneys. They're speaking on his behalf. They're the ones calling her claims baseless and ridiculous. And when you read the indictment today, they line up with what she alleged in that lawsuit last fall.
If the claim is that he had unwanted sex with her, that claim is baseless. And it will be proven to be baseless when we have a trial.
But the claim is obviously the conspiracy, the racketeering. It's much larger than just that, obviously, as you know.
It is, but the government wants it to be. But count two, which is the sex trafficking count, relates to one person and one person alone. All of this talk of dozens of victims and 50 witnesses, if they had that, if they really had it, it would be in the indictment.
And a lot of professionals did say that they felt like this would be a longer, more in-depth indictment. How about a conference in 14 to 20 days? Okay. So they still inside. They still figuring it out. Damn. All right, so we got some tweets. Oh, I keep doing that while we wait. Inner City Press. All right, let's see what they talking about. So he's adding on to this one, I believe, this thread. This is why I love Twitter. This is why I love Twitter. Which one was this? Oh. This is my old tweet glue. We be at. How I got it on here, not there? I don't know what's in my bookmarks, y'all. Alright. I read that earlier. Alright, so I think we here, and the security could be in the house. Yeah, so I said we could put cameras filming 24 hours a day. They could do spot checks. He doesn't need to use the internet. We can make it as secure as we need to make it. There are already cameras there. The judge, that video is troubling. He was 40-something years old. He realized he has a problem with drug addiction and anger. See, I knew that they put it on the drug addiction. He went into rehab program for a period of time. The woman in the video also went into rehab around the same time. They loved each other, so they still talking about Diddy and Cassie for people that are wondering. They loved each other. The written messages are heartbreaking. The sex and the violence were totally separate, motivated by separate things. The way they choose to be intimate, the way they would bring in a third person, where they would bring a third person on, they chose that. Judge, what does that have to do with him punching her? Oh, Judge, getting straight to the point. Throwing a vase at her. What's love got to do with that? Not the judge just quoted some shit. Hey, what the fuck? Judge said, what love got to do with that? What's wrong with your boy? That was jealousy. Hold on, let me make sure this is still there. My bad, yo. That was jealousy from infidelity in both directions. Mr. Combs and this other person, the violence is from that. The judge, what is your point? They cooking the defense in there right now. God damn. They cooking right now. The judge, and you say they invited the third person in. If that person is a commercial sex worker and they travel across state lines, isn't that a problem? And that's why a lot of rappers right now are scared, because that whole I flew her out, we had sex, and like that's technically prostitution. So that's why a lot of rappers right now was like, what? Like, I think Boosie, I'm gonna pull up Boosie tweets. He's another one that's like speaking out against this shit, saying this bullshit what they doing to Diddy. So yeah, so you say and you say they invited the third person in. If that person is a commercial sex worker and they travel across state lines, isn't that a problem? And then his lawyer goes, I've spoken with the agency. They say they are not paid for sex, but if they feel like it, the former government of New York, he did this and he was not prosecuted. They are prosecuting Mr. Combs for it. Oh shit. The former governor of New York, he did this and he was not prosecuted. Damn. They talking about Cuomo? I think they talking about Governor Cuomo. I think he just stepped down. Let's get back to the video and the physical beating. Why isn't that relevant to Dangerous? His lawyer doubling down. It's not sex trafficking. Let me make sure they ain't got nothing going on. His lawyer saying, look, it's not sex trafficking. That's why. Like, saying that's his lawyer. That's a good job with the lawyer, keeping him on track. Like, I know you could, just like the lady was doing in the news video. I know you're saying this video, but he's not being charged with that. Y'all are bringing up something that was handled civilly. There were no charges for that. That's not what's on the docket right now. What's on the docket right now is sex trafficking. Let's handle that. You guys say you have sex trafficking, yada yada yada, whatever. Let's handle that. The feds are saying that doesn't matter. There's video evidence that your client is dangerous and he's coercing witnesses, intimidating witnesses, calling them up to 54 times. Come on now. So his lawyer goes, even if you don't trust him, trust the bond package. 50 million bond, no internet, Sage. That will give the court comfort that he is not a flight risk, that he can prepare for his trial. We had known this was coming. He could have run in March, and that's true. They like, look, if he wanted, like, and I don't think they even worry about the flight risk. I think they're more worried about him. They're using the video as a reason to keep him in jail. They're saying, you know what, I hear what you're saying, but this video doesn't make me comfortable. He was 40 something at the time. This is a dangerous person. Look what he did. Okay, yeah, so he could have ran back in March. His lawyer, he was an actual altar boy. Judge, how far are we going back? I guess his lawyer like, shit, y'all going far back, so I'm gonna go far back. Where we go. He watches a sermon every day. They pulling out anything. He watches a sermon every day, y'all. Diddy home, he watched a sermon, so that washes away all the sins for the freak offs. Hey, they trying to take our black men away from us. The top of the top, they want to kill us off. Now you right though, bro. That's what it is with this. You feel me? And that's why his lawyer confident. Like, look, I can get him off. We can beat this. Y'all don't have no. But just gave me Dr. Umar grab my phone. Oh my God, yo, yeah, you gotta call it, yo, because this is crazy, yo. Oh my God, Dr. Umar grabbed my phone. Oh, screaming, he was an altar boy. How far are we going back? He watches a sermon every day. He has done a great deal to earn the court's trust. I asked you to release him. The judge, I've heard from the parties. I find that the government have proven the defendant is a danger regarding the bail package. It is insufficient even on risk of flight. Sean Combs will be detained. Judge. So let's do the initial conference. The discovery will include photographs of physical evidence from the March searches from this week, including the freak-off supplies. There are a large number of electronic devices. Whoa, let me read that again. The discovery will include photographs of physical evidence from the March searches from this week, including freak-off supplies. So I think we might start seeing some of the freak-off supplies. If they get entered into evidence and all that, and we start moving forward, I think they might start putting that stuff out there. If we see the stash of baby oil, it's a wrap. Because like I said earlier, they still have to pick a jury if they're going to trial. Everybody in the country is paying attention to this. So you already going in there with the mindset of he did it. Now they go and they said they got the free calls recorded, and his lawyers are saying, well, why it's not in the indictment? If that's the case, why isn't any of that in an indictment? That's where his lawyers feel like we got a solid case. And the indictment is only 14 pages. Usually indictments like this that goes back to 2008, usually like 100 and something pages, maybe more. So if it's only be 14 pages, and this is the Southern District of New York that I was saying yesterday, they are aggressive when they prosecute. So they like, whoa, what's the play here? Why this so short? I was about to say small, no Diddy. We have 35 full extractions ready to produce to the defense. We would request a status conference in approximately 90 days. Damn, Diddy. Yeah, damn. He really about to be in the can. Like, you gotta think. He went from 30 years of living this lavish life to now it's just took to a 6x9 cell, 3 meals a day, commissary, and your thoughts. Like, think about that. Like, you got the leisure to just go to your fridge, call the chef, go make music, fly around the country, vacation where you want, do what you want, have a freak off. To now, nothing. Like, your life is just stripped. Like, that's a crazy ass feeling. To just go from riches to like rags, that's crazy. 90 days. Given that he'll be in the shoe in MDC, I can't for now consent to any exclusion under the Speedy Trial Act. And that's usually what happens. Usually they do the Speedy Trial Act to get the ball rolling quicker, because you are entitled to a speedy trial. Judge, I can set a trial date if you want. If I can't try it, I can find a colleague who can. Let me speak with the government. He whispers with 4 AUSAs. Meanwhile, Garaga, whatever, got me sounding like Webby on this bitch again, whispering to Sean Combs, how about the conference in 14 to 20 days? Judge, what's your position on the speedy trial? I'm not prepared to waive it. First, the day, October 9th at 2 p.m. Damn. So we got an October date. We move to exclude time under the Speedy Trial Act. I can't consent. I'll know on October 9th. Judge, I exclude time then. Oh, damn. Let's see if we got an update. So no interviews yet. Damn, we waiting for somebody to come out and talk. Okay. Judge, we received some. Okay. So, Judge, we've received some calls today from people who say they have evidence for this case. We referred them to the United States Attorney's Office. What about the local rule? AUSA, we wanted to flag defense counsel's comment about the victim. We are not requesting action. It would be better if he puts in Essex County Correction. It'll be better if he's put in Essex County Correctional Facility than MDC. The designation authority is entirely given to the BOP. I don't know there is anything the court can do to put its thumb on the scale. It's got me sounding like Webby. God dang, got some words on y'all. Let's see. Refresh. He typed damn near this whole trial up. We still waiting for motherfucking the long crime. Let's see what they got. Let's see.
Put up a $50 million bond secured by the property. Not only GPS monitoring, not only will he surrender his passport, all that. They say they have brought the head of Sage Intelligence today, and they are proposing
monitors, or they'll be in custody, or they'll.
And that's possible, but that's something pretrial services has to do and has to monitor. So
while he was out on bond, started contacting witnesses, that would get his release conditions revoked. Courts really do not like that. They do not like any idea of witness tampering. Another point that hasn't really been brought up from the court that I've heard, or anyone else really, is if you think that you're going to be indicted any minute now, and you're coming to New York in anticipation of indictment because you're so cooperative, why do you have pink drugs, ecstasy, 2C, whatever it is, physically on your person, and firearms with obliterated serial numbers in your home? Why would you have that if you really thought that you were going to be arrested? So I think that all goes against that argument for the defense. I think it was more that.
Yeah, he was caught with ecstasy on him when they arrested him too, by the way.
He was just narcissistic.
Why?
I think that anything would ever come to him and he would just get.
And I'm sure his lawyers did not know that he had ecstasy on him.
See, that's the problem. And I mentioned that before in the government's letter, is this idea it didn't stop, right? These allegations, yes, they're from a number of years span, but if he has recently been contacting witnesses, if he's in New York, and he has narcotics on him, which, again, the allegations were is that he was supplying people with narcotics during these freak-off sessions. And then I mentioned this letter from the prosecution that it says, since at least in or about January of 2024, which, by the way, he probably thought he was under investigation. The raids didn't happen yet, but the lawsuits happened. When the defendant was unquestionably aware of the criminal investigation, the evidence shows that he engaged in multiple freak-offs, some involving the interstate transportation of individuals to participate, has continued to use narcotics, and has contacted multiple witnesses. So, look, the NEMA, they're saying will take away his ability to do any kind of criminal activity, but it's not like he's sitting alone in an isolated apartment. He has this team. And I think what the prosecution has been saying, even if he personally doesn't have access to firearms or a phone, he can somehow get that message out, right?
No question, Jesse. He is running a criminal enterprise, and that's something that the government keeps harping on in their detention memo. And Natalie raised an important point. Let's say, in theory, Diddy were granted pretrial release. He would be subject to the standard conditions: obey all laws, no contact with witnesses. And there's a pretty high-profile case where an individual was granted bond, he contacted witnesses, and that bond was revoked. And that was Sam Bankman-Fried in the FTX fraud case. So if Diddy had contact with witnesses while he was out, federal judges routinely revoke bond and remand people into custody if that happens, because that's considered tampering, obstruction of justice. Really goes to the heart of our criminal justice system and affects the integrity. So that's a definite no-no. If you're under indictment, you're under investigation, even if you're going to be sued civilly, every lawyer will tell you, don't destroy evidence, don't contact witnesses. And we know that Diddy had lawyered up and did this anyway, at least allegedly.
So I'm being fully transparent with everybody who's watching this. I didn't ask you that question because of the update that we just got, but it's almost like the court is listening to this live feed, because the judge
of
just
course
asked, under your plan, would he have employees, right? Would he have employees? And the defense says they handle his finances. They're in California. Would he be able to leave his residence? The judge asked. No. The judge also asked, in the security, they could be there in the house? The defense, yes, in shifts. We could put cameras filming 24 hours a day. So at least the judge maybe seems receptive to it, or at least asking questions. Natalie, what do you think?
Judge is giving him the full opportunity to be heard and to make his record, right? But I think that this is a case of it just would not look good. This is not something that's available to anyone else. And I can't see a reason for why someone should be able to use their wealth to turn their home into a prison. And then we would need to trust that the company hired by the defense, paid for by the defense, would then follow through and not be at all influenced by Diddy and their supervision of him within his home. I can't see it. It seems massively unfair to indigent people who could never afford to do that.
So here is a great question that we just got from one of our followers on YouTube. Excellent question. It's from All Hail. The question, Nima, is how did Diddy know who were the witnesses for a sealed grand jury indictment? How was he given the list of the witnesses trying to get him indicted? I think you can even extend that. If he's reaching out to people in general, couldn't you say that in and of itself is evidence he knows what he did, right? Oh my gosh, they're charging me with what are they even looking into? I'm under investigation? What did I do? But the fact that he's allegedly reaching out to people means he knows exactly what he did. So how would he know who the government's speaking to?
Well, it's evidence of his guilt. He knows who was present at these freak-offs, right? He knows who the witnesses were. And let's be clear, grand jury proceedings are supposed to be secret, but these are some of the worst-kept secrets out there. You have reporters who sit outside the U.S. Attorney's office.
I see with TMZ.
We knew witnesses were testifying before the grand jury because Jesse, you and I, Shanali, we all do a lot of TV, and reporters are very good at their.
Diddy Bell. Make sure this on Diddy denial at bail hearing. Damn, Diddy's fight to get out of jail has stopped in its tracks, cause after arriving at court today to appeal a judge ruling he shouldn't be released on bail, he's headed back to the detention center. The rap mogul arrived at the federal courthouse in New York City Wednesday, where his sons Christian and Justin came out to support their dad through ultimately the judge in the case decided not to grant Diddy bail. U.S. District Judge Andrew Carter, after hearing arguments from the lawyers, said he was turning down the request because the government has proven the defendant is a danger. The bail package is insufficient even on flight risk. I always got a damn ad. Damn, Diddler. It's over. That withdrawal about to be crazy. He about to go through.
I love the jacket. Making a statement. You look great.
What? Didn't they say his son was charged?
That the bail was denied yesterday. I guess you're hoping it'll be done today, correct? But you guys look great. We love the fashion moment. You look fantastic.
The fashion moment. Did his son get charged? Did his son get charged? I don't see nothing. I don't see nothing about his son being tried. I seen some people saying it, but I don't know if it's true. Put a question mark. I don't see nothing recent. Is this unaccused or anything?
In a new lawsuit, Sean Diddy Combs' second son, Christian Combs, is accused of sexually assaulting a crew member working on a super yacht. That suit was filed here in Los Angeles.
Oh, this was back in 2024.
Markey say she was sexually assaulted on board a yacht when she was 25 years old in December of 2022 by Diddy's son, rapper Christian
So
Combs.
he wasn't charged recently. He was charged back in April for something.
They say his dad, Sean Combs, leased the yacht and had full control of its staff and the premises. O'Markey's lawyers say Combs turned what was sold as a wholesome family excursion into a hedonistic environment. They stated, quote, defendant Sean Combs fostered and encouraged
Hedonistic environment. It's crazy.
An environment of debauchery. There was always a party atmosphere filled with suspected sex workers, suspected laced alcohol, violence, and sheer disrespect of women and the yacht's crew. The lawsuit also contains photos of bruises that O'Markey's lawyers say she suffered when Christian Combs violently grabbed her and attempted to force her to perform a sex act. They also included a transcript of an audio recording which they say captures O'Markey being forced to consume suspected laced shots of tequila. A lawyer representing both Diddy and his son Christian said in part, quote, we have not seen this woman's claim, but I'm sure we can expect the same kind of manufactured lies. Diddy is named in the suit for liability.
All right, so that was with his son. Let's see if they got. Oh, so they caught him coming out of court. This chat be going crazy. So that means the lawyer's about to come out soon. Damn.
attorney's going to come out and give a speech. Just please, in fact, everybody likes to be orderly, all right? Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, the attorney's about to come out. This in real time too. Okay, so let's get this thing started, man. What's the big old deal?
Good afternoon, everybody. So we made a bail appeal to Judge Carter. It did not go our way. The fight continues. We're not giving up by a long shot. I told Mr. Combs I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible. I'm going to try and
under the Speedy Trial Act.
Time he spends in very, very difficult and I believe inhumane housing conditions in the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Detention Facility, and I'm going to do everything that I can to move his case as quickly as possible.
Oh, come on, man.
Devices that they have to download and provide to me, but everything's on the government's timetable, nothing's on the defendant's timetable, and they're going to have to accommodate me and him and give us a quick trial. And
Speedy Trial Act.
For that. He's ready. He's focused. He has been ready to defend this case since he first.
See, that's how you know you got a confident lawyer. He ready to go to trial. Like, look, give me all the evidence. Let's go.
Found out about this case. Nothing has changed from his perspective. I obviously would much prefer to fight this case with him out of jail, and we are going to try to bring that about through additional legal process. But wherever he is, his resolve is the same. He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent. And we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight any longer. I'm not really going to take any questions. But at this point, we are moving forward. We're preparing for trial as we speak. And we are considering our next steps and appealing the court's ruling from today. All right. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. He's doing good.
And they still going to ask questions.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. I'll do that. All right. So in the past, Essex County, New Jersey, it's a county facility, but it has a contract with the federal government, and you can get certain number of federal inmates in Essex County, New Jersey. And in my experience, it's an easier place to deal with. I think it's better for the person being housed there, and it's easier to get access, to him. I mean, one of the hardest things when you're preparing for a very significant trial with a great deal of discovery is you want your client to be able to have access to, the electronic discovery. Nothing nowadays is in paper form. Everything's electronic. So you need to make sure that your client has access to a computer and that it can look at the discovery, that comes in. So that was my idea. All right. I'm going to go. Thank you. He's good. Thank you.
There it is. Diddy denied bail. They gonna keep him locked up for the duration of the trial. His lawyer's like, look, let's get to the speedy trial. Let's get right to it. No games. Let's see if they put up something else. Yeah, that's pretty much it. As far as that. All right. I think yeah, I think that's good for now. All right, yeah, I'm about to get up out of here. I appreciate everybody that's tuning in. Everybody subscribe to the channel if you didn't subscribe. I appreciate everybody. All the views matter. Like all the content on the page. We here for the long haul. I'll be back tomorrow if we got any more news about the Diddler. As far as covering other topics, I appreciate everybody.